Hello and welcome to We Got a podcast about Dragon Ball from A to Z. From Earth to Namek to Sadala, we cover it all. My name is Randy.
I'm member 46, Sleepy Doug.
And I have now been here for half of these episodes, Ken.
Hey, congrats,
Nice.
That's right.
So glad you're here, man.
We're at episode 100, guys. We did it. I mean, Doug and I did it. Ken, you tagged along.
It's 100. I didn't even realize this was 100 episodes.
Well, count the bonus episodes were deeper than that, but yes.
Still, I've been on microphone for more than 100 times. And a good one for a little more, over half of that.
True. The amount of things that we have you recorded saying.
Yes. Now, if we take out the Scott Pilgrim episode, if we take out Randy begging for ideas, and if we take out the superhero check-in episode, this is really episode 97. So at episode 103, maybe we'll celebrate.
Cool.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. Once we get through all this Daima stuff, then we can do something and just be belated. I mean, that gives you guys, the listeners, plenty of time to, think about what kind of gifts you're going to get us, because...
Can I have cake, but shaped in booty? Booty cake.
That's on brand, so I guess that's okay.
What's this podcast about, Randy?
Well, we're this world's strongest under the heavens trio to dangers here every other week to talk your ear off about fights, goofs, and everything else in the Dragon Ball cosmos. Doug, what's new, man?
Hey, man. I've been working on a video I told you guys about, making an SH Figuarts archive, starting with good old Piccolo, SH Figuarts numero uno. That's been really fun to work on, but it's been a lot more effort than I thought it was going to be, just because I'm a perfectionist and want to make sure everything is good and right and looks nice. But expect an archive of the Dragon Ball SH Figuarts line starting soon.
Yeah, Doug, you sent us that footage, and I was shocked at how much detail you go in that.
Really?
It's fantastic.
I'm glad.
People are going to love it.
I'm so happy, yeah.
So you went through a lot of work for that, and that's number one. Are you sure you can handle doing this?
That's what I'm saying.
What is it, 700 times? What are we at?
At least 150. Before I ever started recording the first one, I'm like, I can maybe do like 2 a week. And like after doing this, I'm like, oh my God, like one every 2 weeks, maybe. So I think what I'm going to do, a little BTS, I'm going to try and like stockpile a couple or maybe 3 of these and then like start so I don't burn myself out too quickly. And then by then, the first one's always the hardest because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm testing things out. But I think... especially now after this first one, I know what camera angles I need to do, what I need to talk about, that kind of stuff. So a lot of the guesswork is done. I know what I need to do.
Yeah, you got to lay that groundwork, find your groove. And then after that, it gets much easier.
Yeah.
Ken, what's new with you, man?
Well, with this being the 100th episode of We Got a Podcast, I thought I'd celebrate by going out this morning and getting a vasectomy.
Congrats!
So, we have to do that too? Or is that
That's
just
up
a you thing?
Your choice.
Okay.
But that is true. I did get a vasectomy this morning.
Hey.
Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. You feel a pinch. It's kind of like getting kicked in the balls a little bit. And then you're just sore for a while, and I'm still sore now, but damn it, we're not missing an episode. Yeah, this is happening.
Well, you're one of Kami's strongest soldiers, Ken, and I'm impressed. I would have called out. I would have been like, uh-oh, things aren't feeling 100% down there. I ain't doing nothing.
I'm so happy for you, just in the sense of, I thought our generation was in agreements that you know what, we don't need kids to be happy. We're gonna live our lives. But then all of my in real life friends are having babies and kids and all this kind of stuff. But Ken, you're doing it. You're snip snip. I'm good. Yeah. I don't need kids, right? And that's your choice and just how you want to live. So that's great.
Yeah, no thanks. I'll get some Figuarts instead, Doug. You feel me?
Yeah, same. You kidding me? I'm going to buy figures for kids? No, figures for me, baby.
Dude, the Switch 2 is coming out in a few months, okay? I don't have time to look at and watch after kids, man. I'm going to be over here playing Breath of the Tears Kingdom, okay? Or whatever they're going to call it.
The cost of that is just a 1 week worth of diapers. It's the cost of a Switch 2.
So, as I've been recovering from my vasectomy, I've been playing Like a Dragon Ishin, because I picked it up for $20, and I think last time I said I wasn't even sure if I was going to play it or not, but I've been playing it. It rules. It's already in my top 5 of these Yakuza games. Just super fantastic. There's a farming mini game, Randy, and then there's a dungeon crawling mini game, Doug. So it's awesome.
I love crawling.
Super good. Super fantastic.
Was that not one of the Yakuzas that was not very well revered? It wasn't. Everyone said it wasn't good. Or am I thinking of a different one?
So this one was originally, I think, a PlayStation 4 game in Japan only. And then they brought it here, put it in Unreal Engine 4, and then put it on PlayStation 5. So, no, in my opinion, the only bad Yakuza game is Yakuza 4. I really just do not enjoy that game. No.
Wasn't it? Or maybe it was one like where they forgot their name. That's like in the title or something, but I don't know.
Oh, no, that game ruled.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I don't know about...
I'm still going through Kiwami 0, or so I'm not anywhere near that far.
Yeah, I did just beat Yakuza 0 again. And boy, the ending of that game, I was like, okay, when is this game going to end? I got to go to bed. I don't play the game late when you're trying to beat it. Randy, what have you been doing lately?
Well, what have I been doing? So Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out last year on the PlayStation 5, and obviously we all played it. We talked about it many times in our start of the podcast. Same here, but you know what? It's a long game, and I always felt like I had to do all of the stuff before moving forward, or things like that, even though it's all just side content. Well, it came out on PC, and I thought I'm gonna pick that up, and then I'm just gonna have it, and then I can get to it another time. But it came out, and I'm like, let me just boot it up. Let me give that a go. Let me put 15 hours into it in a week. So just finishing the grasslands. I've done all of the intel, and I'm about to move on and go through the mines. But you know what? Knowing where the story goes and not feeling like everything is a chore and I just get to go at my own pace, which was a problem I put on myself when I played through it. It's not the game's fault. I'm like, man, this game really is something special. I do love this a lot.
I love the thing for me that the chores never felt like chores too. Like it was like, right. It's like I wanted to do those side missions and like complete everything. But I will admit I didn't ever, after it was time to go to like the Lost City or whatever. I didn't do like a lot of the pirate stuff, but I always intended to go back and do it. But I'm kind of excited that I have that there whenever I'm bored and I want to just boot up the game. And like, there's a lot of stuff I can still mess with. But I beat the game originally. Yeah,
I did that stuff. You just go fight guys on little islands.
Yeah.
little like port areas, but yeah.
Gotcha.
Right. But at that point, I was just like, I got to know what happens in the story because like every day is a roll of the dice if I'm getting spoiled or not since the game came out. So now I don't have to worry about that. It's just a fun journey and a fun little trip. And it's good. It's a good time. If you haven't played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, play it. And if you haven't played Remake first, do that. And if you haven't played the original first, do that one first.
Oh my God.
And then do these.
Yeah, if you got,
what's required is FF7, Advent Children,
Ken's wrong advice,
Remake and Rebirth. People like Doug
Crisis Core
will tell you to play Crisis Core.
You need to play Crisis Core, not for the story, but to experience Zack and to love him as a character. If you don't love him as a character, a lot of the stuff doesn't hit because it's all fan service.
Okay, so would you rather... This is now a podcast about Zack specifically. Would you rather enjoy Zack, a character who's barely in these games, or would you have like the whole backstory and stuff with Sephiroth not suck? So like...
Well, they keep adding stuff to Sephiroth because there's that mobile game where they're like, when he joined Soldier. I'm like, I haven't played.
I don't even want to mess with that, but no,
just
all the Zack stuff.
Stop tinkering with lore that doesn't need to be tinkered with. Speaking of which,
that's a perfect segue because we're here talking about Dragon Ball Daima. It's still the new hotness, and we're here to talk about 2 episodes at a time because that's just the function of how our show goes. It's every other week, but there's 2 episodes because there's one every week. And this time, we're going to be doing episodes 14 and 15. But yeah, so you know what Daima is at this point, so let's just get a recap here from Ken to let us know what has happened so far.
Last time on Dragon Ball Daima, fearing a forceful front against his first Demon World fiefdom, Gomah deactivates the Warp Samas. However, will Goku and company make it deeper into this Daima wonderland? Real short recap on that. Not a lot happened last episode of any consequence, so.
That's true. We didn't have a lot. It was just one episode because of, holiday breaks and things like that. But anyway, what did we think about these 2, 14 and 15? Doug, let me know what you thought.
I am completely checked out of this. I don't think I say stupid.
Thank you.
This ridiculously boring show. I'm checked out. I'm done. I'm here for you guys, but man, did I fall asleep on the second episode of our watching, and such a chore to go back and wake up and watch and finish it a week. Man. Yeah. Not positive for me.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Ken, let's hear what you have to say.
Let me preface this by saying I feel like I'm in the minority of people who did enjoy these 2 episodes. Now, having said that, everything that has been a problem of mine throughout this entire show is still present in these 2 episodes. What has changed is the tone of the show. And the tone of the show is now more serious. It feels like whether or not there actually are, it feels like the stakes are finally where they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
There is the dynamics of like Goku and Vegeta and Bulma, specifically Veggie Bowl fans eating real good with these episodes. Randy, how'd you like it?
I don't really have anything to say. I'm just having a good time with the journey, and I'm more here to just facilitate a conversation. I don't know. I feel like
Okay,
I'm just
come on,
Doug
that's
is
the
checked
coward's way out.
I feel Doug is checked out of watching the show, and I'm just checked out of talking about it.
No, this is not gonna. Okay, so
What a great podcast material.
so let me ask you this, Randy. I have seen online, it seems like the people who enjoyed the first 13 episodes of this series have turned on it with episodes 14 and 15.
Oh, really?
Is that your case or is that not?
It's not.
Okay. So you're still feeling very positively towards it?
I mean, obviously, there are flaws and things. It's like, it'd be great if it was better for this reason or that, or if this was done different. But like, overall, it doesn't affect me. I'm liking it. So
It's just any Dragon Ball material you just eat up. Is that what it is, or is that...
At this point, maybe. I don't know. Like...
He didn't like Heroes. Randy, I got your back. He did not like Heroes.
And Doug, if you remember, we reviewed Battle of Gods, and both of us were like, that ain't it. And I still feel that way. So.
And movie 6.
Well, okay, now hold on. I agree with you guys about Battle of Gods. Movie 6 is a different topic. I will sway hearts with that one.
I don't want to not like this series too, because I also do want to enjoy like just new Dragon Ball. But like even looking at it, when I'm consciously like, oh yeah, this is new Dragon Ball, I should be enjoying this. I'm like, but I'm not, and I hate being that person. But it doesn't do anything for me. It just lacks the charm that Toriyama really nails and really has an eye for and a mind for that. You could tell when you like there's instances of like, oh, Toriyama wouldn't have done that, or like, oh, these Member Force characters would have more unique looks if Toriyama had designed them. You could tell it's just like in the studio's like, you guys can design them. Oh,
do we know that he didn't
the same
design
rabbit guys
Yeah.
with the red line on their face? Okay, great.
I'm going to probably... I have no knowledge about this anymore, but those scream Toriyama to me.
It's just the Ginyu Force. It's just the Ginyu Force, but less creative. They're all the same bunny man, but just one's fat, so he's the chunky, I want food guy. One's strong, so he's like the burly, dumb one. It's nothing is fun about that. You look at the Ginyu Force SH Figuarts, and you're like, yes, I need each and every single one of them. I don't need an SH Figuart of these 5 Member Force characters.
I definitely need the main guy, for sure. I think it's interesting, you know, we've always been talking about the Toriyama of it all, right? And Super... everyone pretty unanimously agrees, and maybe not. That was a show that was like floundering the whole way because they were flying by the seat of their pants. They had no prep time. Daima had a legendary prep time, as we've been told, and is still having its own issues. And then Toriyama and Torishima, for like a good part of the series, they're in the middle, bouncing back and forth between planning ahead and seat of the pants, right? And it's just neither of these two extreme solutions have been able to find that correct balance that Toriyama had. And for that, Daima is an extremely interesting show in that it's showing us that you can have this knee-jerk reaction to Super and still not get it right.
Doesn't, like, I don't know, is there a sense of, like, Toriyama doing better from the seat of his pants? Like, isn't that what almost all Dragon Ball was just, like, always on that crunch time of, like, what can I need to do something now, and I need to change something last minute. And like he excels in that aspect. So to have that prep time ahead of time might have damaged. I don't want to believe that, but there is that theory.
I don't know. I've said this before. I want a post-mortem for the show when it's all over. And we'll never get that. But we will get different people involved in the production talking. And from whatever they say, we'll probably be able to get a picture of how involved Toriyama truly was in this series.
And I want to stress, I don't dislike the show because it doesn't meet up to Toriyama standards. I don't like this show as for any kind of anime. Like if this wasn't Toriyama or anyone, this just doesn't feel like a competent anime at all to me personally.
We've got some fun stuff that we can talk about by diving into this episode, and we're just going to do it. So episode 14, Taboo. Now, what happened in this episode? Hey, I'm here for you.
With Warp out of commission, Goku and company need to find a new way to the first demon world. Thankfully, Neba is there to remove the shield that he put there in the first place. As the team descends, Gomah is on the move, amassing the military police and the special military force, should the kids make it to the first demon world. Ku and Do get some chocolate thanks to the generous military police force as well. Goku and the others make their way into the first demon world and are met with an army ready to blast them out of the sky.
So, yeah. Lots of stuff happening there. Guys, Taboo. Let's talk about it.
Why is it called Taboo?
Because we don't talk about it.
Oh, on
Just
episode
like
15.
Okay, so point one, Glorio sucks. Point two,
Yeah.
Glorio seems like they are trying to make him warm up to the cast, but they're kind of doing it they're being way too subtle about it, I think. Like there needs to be more of him joking around with the cast and like little bits here and there. Like we've had parts where he smiled at Pansy when she fixed the ship.
Yeah.
The beginning of this episode, he compliments her. There's a thing where Hybis says like, you're a gloomy guy, but you're good or something
You're
like
actually
that.
a good guy, yeah.
So I think they're doing a face turn for him later on,
Yeah.
where maybe he's gonna end up being a good guy for realsies, and they're trying to seed it, but it doesn't feel like they're doing it right.
No, because I feel like the Hybis thing where he says like you're a gloomy guy, but you're actually a good guy. I was like, wait, where did you get that from? Like I don't. It's like more tell, don't show. Like Hybis is just like there for exposition. Like you're actually a good guy. I'm like, we didn't get any of that from Glorio. What do you mean? He just carried a Dragon Ball for you or something.
Yeah, I honestly don't even remember that. So it's just kind of like a thing that has come into my ears and eyes and just bounced right off. I don't remember any of this characterization of Glorio as a good guy and warming up.
And that's
to them.
exactly the point, Randy, is that they're not doing a good job of making that an obvious thing that's definitely going to happen anyway.
I mean, I figured it was the, knuckle bump from like 6 episodes or whatever. It's like, okay, now we're all friends and it's not a thing we need to worry about anymore. So then being like, oh, you're actually good. Like, yeah, we've already kind of made friends here.
Yeah,
now.
maybe it would have been more fun maybe if we saw more of Glorio being a bad guy. Like if the camera always cut to him by himself and just like him a sinister, like, look, like how I'm going to screw these guys over.
Episode 3 or 4 for the innkeeper, just like, threatening him with his gun. Like, we haven't had anything like that in a long time.
Yeah, we
More
need
of that.
What they should have done with Glorio is like never show us him talking to Arinsu until like maybe 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
And then have like way more of the cool sly stuff, like the innkeeper when he bartered for the sky seed, like him, like have him do cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then reveal to the audience that he's been working for Arinsu all this time. Like they showed that in episode 6 or something, and then he
Super
hasn't
early.
been doing anything cool. There's just nowhere that his character is going. He's such a waste of
just a
energy.
pilot.
And now 2 people who complain about like Vegeta and Piccolo being here, their presence is not helping Glorio have any time to develop either.
Yeah. Like,
But no, I mean, we've had plenty of time without those 2, and Glorio didn't have character development either.
right. But now he's hedged out even more of screen time and available things to do because they're the 2 cool guys on the block. We don't need Glorio to do that.
You can't have all these crossed arms characters.
Yeah. And maybe if we had him, have some sort of flaws or quirk, just so that way he's not just like, oh, he's the cool, quiet guy over there who like, maybe he's actually good and we're friends. Like, I don't know, have him be bad at math or something where it's like, something goofy that we're like, oh, that guy, he's always doing this wrong.
That's what they tried with the whole Goliro thing, is to have him have something to argue. Right, but they're trying to like give this relationship between him and Goku. If you're going to base your character's design off of Han Solo, you might as well just whole ass it and give him that personality too.
Yeah.
Because then it matters that much more when he betrays the team. So now they've gone so far in this way that you don't think there will be a betrayal because now you're expecting it. So the only option is to have him face turn. But that's not like the narrative way that you should go about telling that. That's not an interesting way to tell that story.
What if he doesn't face turn? What if he is just going to be ending up being bad the entire time and never redeems himself?
if he's the main bad guy, like it seems like he's working for
That'd be
Arinsu, but then
interesting.
that we'll have that conversation another day. But for now, it just seems like we're not doing anything with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that whole thing goes. So, not talking about Glorio because, of course, that was number 1 on Ken's notes. Glorio sucks. Next.
That's
is
always number
what?
1.
Always number
Next
1.
was, so also speaking of them seeding something, you know, I thought that when we did episode 13 by itself, it was going to break the 2 episodes at a time, like luck that we've fallen into. But it seems like maybe that was always the intent, is that 13 stands alone because these 2 work together as well.
I see what you mean.
Right. Do you think that maybe
Yeah.
they planned this show knowing that we do this show every 2 weeks?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. That's the correct answer for podcasters everywhere to be able to digest this in a meaningful way. Pansy tells Pilar that her dad doesn't need to show up because these guys are so strong, which is so obviously saying that he's going to show up.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was nice that he did, and that we didn't have like a Chekhov's empty gun there.
Yeah. It was kind of cool though, like her mentioning that and then panning over to like our gang. And it's just like, oh yeah, look, our superhuman strength creature characters are just sitting in the back of this seat, just kind of chilling and everything. So that's nice.
She's got faith in them. So I think that's a good, moment for Pansy to be like, you know what? I don't need my dad anymore. Like, I've got friends. And then they've got my back.
I really wish we got that we don't really get much is like, you know how during the Boo arc with Supreme Kai and how he always underestimated our characters. And it's like, it's played for comedy too. It's like, here's this Z sword that can handle everything. And then just like, oh, whoops, we just immediately cut it. We should have had a character development kind of this, of now the Supreme Kai being the one that's like, knows their strength. And so it's like, Pansy's the one that's like, no, they can't do that. And Supreme Kai's like, nah, check this out, they got it. That would have been like really funny thing. Like to see if maybe the gate could really have been broken by Goku's Noibo. Like, oh, it just took a little bit of a super Saiyan strength and is easily crashed. Like, as a gag. That'd have been funny. And the Supreme Kai with a straight face, like, yeah, that checks out. But everyone else around being like, what? I would have loved that kind of stuff.
Now, to episode 13's credit, Randy, they do bring Magellite back up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was wondering why was I like an ardent defender, but okay, makes sense.
They bring it back up, and they're going to do a Magellite plane trade. So that kind of works out. Too bad Bulma doesn't have any of those planes with her.
Planes on her, yeah.
We don't know that.
It was
She
weird.
hasn't showed us all of the capsules that she
That stuck out to me too. It's just like, yeah, if you give me some Magellite, I'll gift you some planes. I'm like, that's not a gift. You're literally trading goods.
Also, you're part of the 1%, Bulma. I don't want to hear nothing about that.
So the big thing this episode, well, one of the big things is that we get to the Ginyu Force that we have at home.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same reactions that Degasu has, that Frieza had.
The exact.
Oh, Gomah
But I
too,
think-
yeah.
Is that what I meant to say? I meant to say Gomah. Although he is
blushing.
much more quieter about it. Like, then Degasu starts talking to them, and Gomah is just back there, just still with the same face, just like, oh, God, I can't believe we've done this.
But it was
I
fun
like
to see
them.
that when the Ginyu Force did it, because it was like a parody of the Super Sentai, and it's just like the first time you see it. But now it's like, okay, you can't not see the Ginyu Force in this, and it's just a replayed gag or whatever.
It is, but it's tradition now at this point. So GT had the Sigma Special Force or whatever. Super had the Pride Troopers, of course, and now Daima. They have to have their own. That's just how this works now.
It's the 40th anniversary.
Yeah, you can't have a Dragon Ball series without a Ginyu Force. So let's talk about these guys real quick. All of their puns are kind of like on pests or pests, I guess.
Insects and some,
Yeah, the lead guy is Kademu, which is Mukade or centipede. Danima is Madani or tick. Hirya is Hiari, fire ant. Although coincidentally, we have all these plant puns in the series, and a Hylia is a type of plant.
Mm-hmm.
Mashimu is a mamushi or a pit viper, which kind of like breaks from the insect thing out of all 5 of these to be a snake. So maybe there's still like a hidden one that we haven't really figured out there. Or Gaimoi, which is I did not write that down right. So whatever's on the screen, and maybe Randy can cut in explaining what this is, because whatever I typed it in as autocorrected to emoji, and that can't be right. Or cone snail, which is also fun because that's also a Namekian pun style of name.
Oh.
So they have to kind of fudge things a little bit here. And they are the military police force, or Kanpentai Tokusentai, or Kanpei Tokusentai. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And I'll tell you right now, I will never call them the Gendarmerie, ever. No. I will die before I start calling it. It's just so stupid. You've gone from one language to another. Just adapt the language. There's no point to start speaking in French.
It does not make any sense.
So they're bug puns. Is that anything to do with the bugs that are sold as like items in this demon world?
Well, maybe. Still got time, but probably not. But maybe. I like that they all have a distinct weapon, right? So the Ginyu Force all had their distinct like fighting styles, and like, you know, one was the fastest, one could stop time, the other one had a ball, the other one was a ballerina. Yeah, so they all have these like distinct things. It just feels like they introduced these guys with all these distinct things about them, and I'm looking at my watch for some reason, being like, we have no time left to explore all of these different characters.
Mm-hmm.
These, to me, the MPF, as I'm going to call them, these guys should have shown up like episode 9.
Yeah.
We should have it. Then they should have like been threading in individually in through this series, jumping in and out. Instead, we have like all these just nameless characters that we're encountering. We spent a whole time on Megoth. Like, no, we could have used that time to introduce these guys, and we have more time with them. So it just comes back to like a baffling misuse of time from Daima.
Yeah, I mean, it goes with the meta that now we know how many episodes are kind of left, and it's just like these aren't the big bads, and there's only so many episodes left. This is obviously just gonna be one step that our characters have to overcome. It's not gonna amount to anything.
So for those who don't know, Hulu accidentally confirmed the 20 episode count on their like schedule or whatever.
Like they named it finale or something like that.
Yeah, Daima episode 20 finale. They have since removed that, but now we know 100% that is in fact going to be.
I mean, we've been saying
episode.
here on the podcast for a while now, but I guess now it's super.
It's no longer hearsay. Yeah,
it's Daima confirmed.
Right. Or just sort of like figured out via Herm's talking about like, okay, well, the kana that's used for the titles of each episode, there's one that's red, and there's only 20 of those types of characters. So like they'd have to change something after episode 20. Yeah. So it makes sense for it to be 20. But so now it's, everything kind of came together, and that's where we're at.
What sucks about the following episode after this is that we spend so much time fighting NPCs. It should have been this Ginyu Force characters.
100%. Yeah.
We should have at least fought the NPCs for like maybe like 5 minutes, and then the Ginyu Force characters. But no, it's all NPCs.
Well, not even these. Well, we'll get to it in the next episode. But those guys, they should have fought the NPCs for like 10 seconds, wiped them all out, and they're like, "Oh, these guys are nothing." And then the MPF shows up,
right,
and then they're like, "Oh, well, this will be a fun episode."
Yeah, I mean, they must have planned that so that they didn't blow their load with Pansy's dad coming to save the day. Well, sorry, I'm jumping to the next episode.
Yeah, and in a way, these two episodes really are two halves of the same whole. So I would say like Daima is at the point where you shouldn't prevent yourself from blowing a load. You should just blow your load now. There is no time left.
That's why I can't get the vasectomy.
Okay, all right. So we see the Demon Realm map, and boys,
finally,
we called it.
Oh, we did? Oh, we did, yeah.
Yeah.
It is that simple. It is just dunk, dunk, dunk.
It's a Matryoshka doll of a planet.
It looks like an ovary.
An ova, you say?
An ova. No, it didn't look like
an OAV.
Where the sperm goes and then goes through like one layer and then goes to the other layer until you get to the first demon layer.
It's the first demon layer where the egg is and it gets fertilized.
It's where the soul is made, yeah. So
the chamber of guff, if you will.
So when we had Frieza and the Ginyu Force, Frieza was very like embarrassed by this whole thing, but here that just lasts a little bit with Gomah and Degasu because they're like very business focused. They're like, hey, we have made sure that no matter what, these guys cannot come here, but we know something's going to go wrong. So we need you guys. And I'm watching that moment. I'm like, this is good. This is good. I like characters doing smart things, right? You have contingency plans. And then showing us that contingency plan with fun characters. I really like Kadamu, Doug, because he's like, go play with your fart bubbles in the bath, or I just peed myself a little bit. I like the characterizations going on here. And I think this scene, when I first started watching it, I was like super aggravated that it was just the Ginyu Force. And we use the word egregious a lot here when talking about Daima. And it was egregious. But then I decided, you know what? But it's fun and I like it. So I'm okay with it.
Was this on your second viewing or third viewing? Maybe that's
that was
what I
my
need
first
to do.
viewing.
I need to start rewatching this 3 times to enjoy it on the Ken level. That's all it is.
I liked these 2 episodes. I liked the first time each.
Okay.
Surprisingly.
I'm pretty sure I saw you in the Discord of like, okay, I watched it subbed. I like it.
No.
Oh, that's right. You
Something
don't watch it with any knowledge of what they're saying the first time around.
Should I go find my wording? Because I do think I always said I liked it.
I don't think you said this episode sucks and then followed up with I like it. You just weren't saying, that's true. I appreciate that. Not that I need people to like Daima. That's okay if you don't. I just don't want to talk to you.
Okay. Now here is where this show starts tripping over itself. And it's anytime they think they're being clever about lore, because they're just not. And it gets to the point where I wonder, has anyone involved in the production of this series read Dragon Ball or seen Dragon Ball? Like, do you know what property you're using here? Because the MPF seems familiar with Buu, okay? But Buu's rampage happened in the outside world and the Kaioshin realm. So why does Buu have a reputation in the demon realm, and what happened? And I'm not saying nothing happened, but you have to start revealing that stuff, because why do people know who he is here? And again, that was 5 million years ago plus.
Oh yeah.
Do we know which demon realm Marba is? Like, Aransu goes to her, but I don't think we ever see her like, oh, I need to go take a warp to go there or anything.
Coloration wise, she's probably still in the first.
Yeah, I would assume, but it's like, okay, well then she probably would have made Buu there, so like something could have happened. I don't know.
Right.
He blew up a hospital. I don't know.
But that means
like,
Buu would have had to have rampaged through the first, the second, and the third to get out, right?
Right.
Because this would have been, we're going to get even into the crazier lore. This would have, well, no, this would have been after Warp Sama. So I don't know how Bibbidi and Buu even got out. So who knows?
Man, if they
becomes a
managed
whole
to
mess.
explain this, though, that would be incredible. And
I don't think they can. I legitimately think Toriyama forgot, or Yuko Kakihara never knew just how long ago Buu was.
Right.
Because
yeah, if we had that changed, that's a whole, we could make everything work, but it's like, no, millions of years ago. So
because Neva said that he hasn't seen a Namekian in tens of thousands of years, but we can kind of reason out that the Namekians probably left around the time of the Warp Samas being locked down. And so I have reason to believe that they probably think Buu happened tens of thousands of years ago, which is a great magnitude less than what the original series presents.
Anyway,
Glorio discovers that Warp Sama has been shut down. I like this bit here with Goku stepping outside of the plane using Yoibo to test stuff. Like, that feels good to me like, this is Goku not just jumping into action, but being like, let me try to reason things out here a little bit. Let me do some experimentation to see what happens. And so he has Yoibo go down. They see the shield. It touches the shield. He gets shocked, falls out of the plane. Now, they make a point later in this episode to mention that every single person in this plane, except for Bulma, can fly. Goku's unconscious falling out of this plane. Not one goes after him.
Was something sucking him down, or was he just falling?
Just falling. For like 3 minutes.
It's gravity.
Yeah.
I just think that the pacing of the things that happened during this whole scene is just super weird. Because I assume things just happened quicker. But it's just, well, we're going to pad out the time for this episode for these things to happen. Because then, you're kind of like, hasn't he been falling for like 5 minutes? Like, it doesn't take that long.
It's the Frieza 5 minutes quandary, right? Where in the manga, it really doesn't feel like it's that long. No. And so I think of it that way too, is if this episode were adapting a manga, right? Goku's probably not actually falling for that long. It's just that the anime... Now, again, this is where you run into a problem of this is a planned out anime. Okay, so there's not excuses for this stuff to happen.
It's not from a manga.
If this were an anime from a manga, I would just be like, okay, that's what's happening in the manga. But at the same time, Piccolo, of all of them, would just be like, Son! And then jump out of the plane and go save him. Like, that's a Piccolo thing to do. Have Piccolo do that.
Mm-hmm. But no, we just have Piccolo like, oh, okay, well, something is happening, and Neva being, let me do some magic and get rid of these things and explain some things before finally Goku comes to and is like, oh, now I can fly, and let's come back up and everything's good. Like,
maybe it's just the confidence of all our characters knowing like Goku will be all right, because it is just Pansy that goes and like screams Goku's name like no, but you don't see anyone else, so maybe they're just like, no, he'll be fine. Whatever happens.
They all know that Super comes after this, and it starts and Goku is fine. So like whatever happens
armor,
here,
so he'll be fine.
It's not gonna be serious.
We really do get hard confirmation here, though, of Neva's age, because he was the one who built the shields, and those shields are we get a kind of more of a picture of what happened here 5 million years ago, or however how long it was. Yeah. But now we know Neva was there. He made the shield, so he is at least 5 million years old.
Jeez.
And this is...
Right.
Now, again, I'm saying 5 million because that is a number presented... That's a number based on a range presented in the manga, which is still, however you look at it, millions of years ago, right? So that's why I'm thinking... Have anyone read Dragon Ball?
Or has Toriyama at this point just been like, you know what? Any numbers that I said for time during that last chunk, just like, don't worry about it. Boo hasn't been around that long. Bulma doesn't remember how long it's been since she's seen Goku at the 28th Budokai. She's just like, whatever. It doesn't matter, 5 years.
We last printed the timeline in book form in 2013. It has been at like festivals or, I don't know, maybe Comic-Con or something. Like they had it printed up on some big wall. The Xenoverse games use these timelines. These timelines, to me, it's not any reason why like no one along the production way would have gone like, hey, Boo was like 5 million years ago. Something doesn't seem right. And no one caught on to this at any point in this production.
I don't know. It's very like nerdy thing to know that though. I don't know if like any production TV staff guy is gonna like look at that kind of thing. So it's just like, whatever. We'll just make it whatever thousands of years ago.
It's a retcon without coming out explicitly and saying like, that thing that we told you, that's a lie. That was wrong. It's this now. And just being like, just go with the flow, nerds, and it's fine.
So, but we kind of get that. So we'll kind of just mash a little bit into episode 15. Piccolo says the whole thing, a moronic plan to be like, I can just regenerate. I'll just go fight everyone and just regenerate along the way. And then Neva says like, no, if one of your vitals gets hit, that's it for you. But in the Boo arc, Piccolo is destroyed by Trunks and says, no, it's okay as long as my head is intact. So it's like, here, I wrote down exactly it's like they're trying to fix plot holes that aren't there and answer questions that nobody's asking. And in doing so are just complicating things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That has been what's been happening since episode 1 with this show.
Isn't the only reason Cell can regenerate because of Piccolo? And doesn't he say it's because is as long as it's nucleus, or is that a dub thing?
So with Cell, yes, that is the base reason why he can regenerate. But I think with Cell, you can chalk some of his ability up to him being a biological creation. Okay. So maybe certain things are enhanced. So that's how I'm able to just be like, okay, maybe it's not exactly Namekian with Cell.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. So we got rid of these shields. Goku is fine. And now they're going to descend. I can't remember. Is this the episode where we have the convenience store situation?
Yes.
Or is that episode?
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
So happy to see and Ku.
This is what I want out of the show. I want fun, little cute interactions that aren't messing with lore. Like, I want more of this, less of anything involving them ever talking about Namekians in the show.
Yeah.
This is good. This is so good. I love everything about this. People want me to be more positive about Daima. Here it is. Okay.
Here we go.
Ku and Du can do no wrong, okay? Mm-hmm. They're beautiful creatures. I love them. I would die for them. And them getting to meet the military police force, and then immediately, like, when you first meet them, you're like, okay, well, these guys are working for Gomah, so they must be bad guys. and they're just so not that.
They're not. No,
and they're
no.
like good guys trying to take care of these two kids they meet. They're like, let us buy you all these snacks. And even though they can't do it.
Right. But they're still like,
They're
the intention is like,
wholesome.
I'm their big brother.
Yeah.
Like, these kids obviously look up to me. Let's do something nice to them.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
they do
great.
end up buying that chocolate bar for them, right? So it's like, but kids shouldn't eat too many snacks. So, but here's this
They were going to
one,
buy
so
them
enjoy.
a whole crap ton of chocolate because they were so intentionally good.
But
Yeah.
then not having the cash, they don't go like, actually, screw it. You get your own, and we're going to have this one thing for ourselves. Ha ha ha. They're like, no, the only bit of money, we came here explicitly to get stuff for ourselves before we go do this really big mission. But no, they buy these two kids a chocolate bar.
Yeah,
'cause that's
I
what
don't
they
leave
want.
them empty-handed, and they shouldn't have that much candy. Like it's good. I think the joke could have been tightened up more if this was in manga form. Like I could just see the scene play out in manga, just the quicker pace of it. It's just like that's hilarious. But I didn't laugh, but I still enjoyed this scene very much so. Just seeing Do and Ku just like pop up again, like, oh my god, yes, I love these characters. It's such a breath of fresh air.
They are the main characters, to be honest.
Yes.
It's true. And that chocolate bar is going to come into play because remember, Tamagami number 1, Do was struggling and then got a chocolate bar from Ku, and then he had the power to defeat Tamagami 1. So now they've got that.
Why did they have money
before?
before? Like, did I guess maybe they didn't get allowance this time from Dr. Ariansu because before he'd feel like an infinite money. Like, yeah, go get chocolates, but now it's like we can barely buy one.
I'm wondering if this episode is telling us, this scene specifically is telling us that the MPF are not bad guys and we won't be fighting them.
Oh,
And so even though they're in the next episode preview for episode 16, these are not guys that we're really going to be fighting too much. And
they're the Shushinshu of the Dragon Ball GT world.
close. 4-star dragon. Yeah. But
yeah, they're going to show up and realize that these are just kids that are trying to like do something good, and they're like, oh, you know what? Actually, that's probably for the best. And they just
Trying
turn
to
around and use
liberate
their
our
guns and
demon
everybody
world.
else.
Yeah, we're down for that.
Yeah, you know what? That does suck. We did, oppress a bunch of people, and that's not great.
I think they're going to be reasoned with pretty quickly, and then we'll just be moving straight on to endgame stuff.
That'd be better than just them being the obstacle next. Okay, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, listener, you know what happened, probably, unless you're like Doug and you don't watch for 2 weeks and you just watch them right before you listen to us. But yeah. So, Ken, what's next?
Arinsu can tell that Arinsu and Degasu can tell that something's changed after they air out the second demon world, as Neva puts it. I like that touch a lot. Again, for me, it's all about tone, right? And so even though I have this laundry list of Neva and Glorio complaints with this show, this episode shifting the tone, I'm like, okay, all right, I'm in now in a way that I hadn't been before, where nothing feels frivolous of what we're doing, and everything feels like we're moving one step forward to the next thing. And we're not just, this is starting to feel right. Like we're moving in the right direction. Thoughts, Doug?
No.
No thoughts. We're definitely moving towards a climax, or just sort of the big action that the story has been building up to. So yeah, there's definitely a tone change. It's no longer an adventure. It is now like, a siege or something.
But at the same time, we have the scene where Arinsu can tell things have changed, but they make a point to show us that she's like in the same location as Gomah, correct?
They're in the same castle, as far as I know. She's just upstairs.
He's built up this army force to prevent Goku and company from getting in. You don't have any guys. You have this police force. You don't want to go send them over to Arinsu to go at least talk to her about this Dragon Ball?
Or, does he know how, potentially dangerous or powerful she is? Like, sending them would do nothing. Like, we'll just wait and see how this goes, and then I'll just have to take her out. I mean, maybe that's why it's like, you got to go get, in the next episode, that third eye. Because I know what...
When you play peekaboo with a baby, what is that testing for them?
That is object permanence.
Object permanence. Daima does not have object permanence. If a character is not on screen, then they don't fit the logic of the show in that moment.
They're just T-posing out in the distance.
Yeah, they're just T-posing, clipping through the wall. They don't matter in the moment. There's so much connective tissue that just like gets lost when it's no longer being directly referenced in the show.
Yeah.
But Veggie Bowl. The plane goes down again, but it doesn't matter because we get Vegeta carrying Bulma.
And isn't that what it's all about, baby?
Yep, we're like, all right, we're going to go. Somebody's going to carry Bulma or whatever. And she's like, well, I mean, Vegeta's going to carry me, right? And he just goes, yeah,
She's like,
obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah, so good.
Like, oh, that's great.
I love them as a domestic couple. Like, give me more.
Too.
This show has so many chef's kiss, like perfect interactions. So I know the magic is there. I know Yuko Kakihara can figure some things out.
Yeah.
Where's the Dragon Ball magic in the rest of the show?
Yeah.
You know, maybe she just has a knack for character interaction and just sort of like those, you know, moment to moment moments. There's a thing that I've said for a long time, and I don't know, listeners out there, if you guys have been fans of Doctor Who for a while, but there's been different showrunners that have ran it for a while. And there was Russell T Davies, who did like the first 4 seasons, and then we had Stephen Moffat, who did the next set. But Moffat also did like some episodes sprinkled in that first run. And everybody was like, oh man, this guy's episodes kick butt. I'm so excited that he's going to be running this show. And he ran the show. And a lot of people, at least at the time, now, of course, that things have gone by, have changed their minds, are just like, oh, you know what? He was good at the like one episode things here and there, but like as full story arcs, like it's uncreative and like convenient for a whole bunch of things that just work out. So it's like he has strengths and a full story is not it. So maybe it's a similar thing with Kakihara of like, you're good at the moment to moments, the little small things here, but as a full thing, you got to have somebody else checking over this stuff.
That's why imagine a world, and people, there's certain haters out there aren't going to want to hear this, but imagine a world where Daima comes up for a second season, okay? And they're like, Yuko Kakihara is back. And also she's joined by Toyotaro.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm checked back in, baby.
And so you have Toyotaro to make sure all the lore is getting done right. And also fixing all the lore from season 1.
Previous, yeah.
And then Yuko Kakihara is around to make sure that Toyotaro knows that Piccolo shouldn't think that Vegeta can estimate his villains well. So you need a balance.
It's a balance of the two, yeah.
The instrumentality of those two, man. We're moving on to episode 15, Third Eye.
The battle is on. Goku and company storm the first demon world, slowly making progress against Gomah's military police, who are armed with stun guns that can even put the strong Saiyans and Namekian to their knees. And they've got the ammo to last for 10 days. King Kadan joins the fray and helps his daughter and her friends make some headway. Meanwhile, Gomah discovers that Hybus indeed has the third eye, or Oculus Tertius, on his belt and sends Degasu to covertly get it. Hybus trades the belt with a pretty demon girl, though, because he wants her hat instead of a kiss. What are Gomah's plans once he gets his hands on that mystical eye that can grant supreme power?
Doug, what did you think of the flashback in this episode?
Flashback to what?
When did you fall asleep? Because you must have fallen asleep real early.
I think, no, at the battle, when they were starting, stuff was picking up. I was like, I don't care.
So you fell asleep during the whole thing. Okay, all right. So it picks right back up where the last episode left off. The military police almost shoot Bulma. Vegeta's like getting fed up with it. But these military police, like for the most part, are terrible shots.
They are. I was going to ask, I thought they did shoot Bulma, but yeah, I guess not. But yeah, you see them like, you see the Saiyans on the ground and then they shoot and then they're missing.
Yeah, it's... And then, so they shoot and they hit Goku and then they like fire a rocket or something and then they just like fly away. They circle around. Like, no, you have to confirm the kill, guys. You are a military force, right?
Well, I don't think they've had a lot of competition, so they're all kind of not, ready to go. They're rusty.
They are the
things
stormtroopers of the...
It's true.
We get, finally, they're, like, Vegeta is given a chance to be, like, Vegeta, and he's like, screw their ray guns, they won't work on a Saiyan like me. And then the animation team says, you know what, screw Kid Vegeta, we're just going to turn him into adult Vegeta proportions, but with, like, a larger head. And there are shots in this episode where if you go in and you just, like, redraw Vegeta's nose, you have adult Vegeta.
He's adult? Are you serious?
Yeah.
It's funny.
And I think there's some Yamamuro presence in this episode, which might be part of that. So Vegeta does get shot down, and then Goku just stands over him, and they're out in the open, being shot at, not getting hit, and they're down there for a little while.
It's like, here, take this bug, eat it. It's fine. I'm totally just right here where I could get shot, but, you know.
Yeah. Gomah looks at Piccolo and says, that's the Namekushin from Earth. Okay. Now, Gomah would have no reason to call him a Namakuseijin, but I am just saying this to further push the idea that they're just not going to ever say Namakuseijin in this series.
They're not.
And it's just, so this like insistence that the subs have for using Namek is fine if that we would also be using the other term. So we just need to just keep using Namekian, I think. Thoughts?
I mean,
and
I don't know. I got to see where this show goes to the end before I feel, but I'm just like, calling him that is weird because he is from Earth, really. He's not from the planet Namek.
Yeah.
But, you know, I suppose species, he's a Namek. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't think Gomah really has a big reference point for the planet Namek, so it shouldn't really matter. I don't have a problem with him calling him a Namekushin. I'm just getting anal about the subs.
Yeah. Of course.
Which I always go in and change before I even watch the episode anyway, so.
But I gotta complain, because that's my job.
Yeah, well, that's not the Japanese version's fault, so. Gomah finally sees the third eye on Hibis's belt, and then we didn't talk about the Namek flashback or second Demon World flashback that we briefly got in the last episode, in which that lady who I told you had like a very bespoke design. She shows up in that flashback.
Ken. Yes.
Yeah, she's there. And then the commanding officer from this episode is also in that flashback. So
they've been around for a while.
Yeah. Not sure what all that's supposed to mean. But again, if they are that old, then that means they're 5 million years old as well. Oh my God. So just to remember how old everyone, and to me, it's also like, okay, let's say tens of thousands of years old, right? Didn't Pansy say like the average age for a demon was like, what, 200 or, but not, something. I don't remember the exact number, but not tens of thousands of years old.
Right. But I guess so then she meant like the typical demon maybe. So there are definitely exceptions.
Maybe in the third world, that's what it is. But these are first world people.
Just why introduce age? The whole age thing just really messes up with everything.
Yeah. But they opened that can of worms and they keep doing it. Just stop doing it.
Just stop.
I'm sure there are people listening to this podcast who are really tired of hearing me bring up lore inconsistencies in the show, and I feel you, brother. I would love to stop doing it.
He'd stop doing it
if they would stop. Yeah, if they would stop making me mad about them.
They keep doing it.
All right. So what else do we got that isn't lore pissing off Ken?
I'm sorry. There's lore. We still got a block of this to get through. Yeah.
Right. We've got flashback time.
Abra had the third eye. Gomah saw it. So that means Gomah is also extremely old, because we're going to get into a pretty... Abra's reign lasted a while, as we're going to have to talk about here in a second. Degasu is commanded to go get that third eye, and then it's flashback time.
That's right.
Featuring Akio Otsuka. That's right. Solid Snake himself. Adachi from Yakuza 7 and 8.
Whoa.
Oh, wonderful. It's just a comforting voice to hear. I love that guy.
He plays who? Abra?
No, he's the narration flashback.
Oh, when they were like, they just cut like, all right, exposition time. Like, what? Yeah. Oh, what? Okay.
And it's just a different voice that's going to be talking to you about this, not our current narrator.
I gotta admit, that was a comforting voice. Yeah, that was, yeah.
I love hearing that guy.
Yeah. So is there anything wrong with Dabra setting up to be like, all right, this eye thing is a problem, and I want to take over the throne, and my dad having that is bad. You random no-name demon, here's the key, go into the vault, take it, and go. Just get rid of it. There's wrong there?
Nothing wrong, but it does bring up questions. So the Devil's Corpse, who you may have seen on Blue Sky and other places, TDC and, Kanzenshi forums, you probably know who he is. He kind of like mapped this all out. Okay, so your timeline goes like this. Abra is king, then Neva seals the tunnel, we'll quote, while Shin is still a kid, forcing people to use warp to traverse worlds. Abra restricts travel and implements the password system to warp. There was no password when Shin left the demon world. Dabra has the evil eye stolen when there's no seal on the tunnel, and then overthrows his father for the throne. So we have an interesting timeline here. That means Abra 5 million years ago, because we had no thing on the tunnels, which would then prompt the warp, would then Abra locks the warps down. So like, how long were the warps just free to use for? We have this really unclear timeline that we don't know exactly when Shin left. So that means Dabra's really old as well. So
Yeah.
we just, it's anytime the show dips its toes into lore, it's messing things up. I don't think there's been like a clean instance in this entire show of lore that hasn't been like, well, wait a second, what about this?
Maybe this show isn't meant for us. Maybe this show is meant for people who aren't obsessive.
It's 100% meant for kids. That's why the mentality is just like, yeah, it's interesting to hear Ken rip it apart. But I have no like too many problems with it.
And I'm not against Ken ripping it apart. I actually like it because there's a lot of things that I overlook.
But this could be such a clean, enjoyable experience if, like, for instance, they didn't have anyone mention Katats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like all they had to do to really clean up Neva. I can accept Neva being 5 million years old, right? Like,
Sure,
we have
he's legendary.
ancient characters. Yeah, we can have that one guy. That can be his thing. I'll accept, one of the great demon kings being millions of years old. Like, okay, I can accept all that. No problem. But then you start going like one step too far with things.
Yeah.
And it's like, you could have just not had this line in here, and I would have been sitting back going, Randy, I think you're being too negative about Dragon Ball Daima.
Man, what a strange world we'd be living in there.
Yeah. I just, for me, I know I'm an outlier on this, right? You don't include me in your averages because I'm an outlier of my obsessiveness with Dragon Ball, right? I'm very wiki-minded, very like tidbit and fact-minded about these things. But that's what matters to me as a fan. And so to come into this conversation, there's no way I can't bring that up, right? It colors the show for me entirely.
Absolutely.
But I did enjoy these 2 episodes, despite all that. Despite how I probably sound through this whole episode.
You're critical, but you're having a good time. And I think that, that shows great maturity. That, because a lot of people, if there's one thing wrong, they're like, nope, it sucks. I just don't want to even think about it anymore.
But
It's Doug. He just waved, and we can point to him.
I'll tell you one lore thing the show does well is they explain why Dabra didn't have the 3rd demon eye.
Yeah.
Because he gave it to a random guy. The guy took it someplace, died. And then Abra's like, I can't get a hold of this guy. Well, it doesn't matter. The eye's gone. And so it's like, he doesn't need it. And that's why it's not
like a really
Z.
Lord of the Rings Smeagol thing where like someone down the line is going to find the magic ring. Like, what's this thing doing here?
Hybis did.
Hybis did, yeah.
Found, stuck it on his belt, and he's like, well, that's cool.
I like that they just answer that by saying like, oh, well, this random thing happened and that's why it wasn't there. Like, okay.
Those are the kind of things, Lord things that just fit well. That you're not tangling too many webs of like other timelines. You're not mentioning something else that'll mess it up. It's just boom, that's what happened to this thing.
It's like when you watch Better Call Saul, and it has all these little things where, because you've seen Breaking Bad, your first instinct to see these 2 characters who were in Breaking Bad meet for the first time, you're like, well, what are the odds of that? But then you're like, no, this was a random happenstance, which is why things are the way they are in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And so that's what I like. Like, yes, it was a random thing that happened to this dude, and the eye got lost randomly, and Hybis picked it up randomly, but it all works because that's how we got to the world that we're in now. Or
things like Better Call Saul have so many chances to mess up the lore, but they don't. They really do get in the nitty-gritty and make everything connect.
So I would just say, don't bring up Katats. Don't try to get into the specifics, and have just more random crap happen in your flashbacks and in your lore. And then we can just write it off where we need to easily.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Was it Degasu in disguise as the lady with the hat? I say yes.
It makes sense. It wouldn't make sense if it wasn't.
I desperately want it. I don't think it is, but I desperately want it to have been Degasu who has decided, you know what? There's this guy and he's got the eye. What do I have to do? Obviously the answer is to pretend to be a lady and freely offer and hope that he kisses me. I really just want Hybis to kiss me.
Yeah, and he had to be mentally prepared for that.
It's the obvious Bulma joke, though, again, from episode 1 of Dragon Ball, where it's like, I show you my panties, and this character has no interest in that. Why would I want to see your panties?
But it's funny as a person who likes other men, it's funny to be Degasu, who is just this, like, just a regular evil dude, to be like, what do I do? Okay, what's plan number 1? Dress up as a lady and hope this dude wants to kiss me. Because that's the first thing. He's like, I like your belt. Want to kiss?
Didn't
he's
they,
like,
didn't
no,
they
I don't
mention
want that.
They don't have genders.
Well, they decide their gender, and then henceforth they have one.
Oh, is that what they?
He, it's 100% Degasu, because the like reaction that she has when Hibis decides that he doesn't want to kiss, it's like you just think that's Degasu's reaction there. Like, oh, my plan's not working.
You can totally
right.
see it. Yeah.
To me, yeah. So like Randy, I would recommend sell yourself on this idea. Rewatch that scene with it like fully in there.
No,
and I think
it's yeah. I mean,
it wouldn't make sense if it's just a random woman just walks up and does that. It doesn't make any sense.
In the middle of a war zone, to be out in a fashionable hat and be like, ooh, I like belts. Can I have your belt?
Yeah.
It's like, that's weird, because we just saw, like, you know, a family like indoors, like, oh my God, look what's out there. And there's people with round ears. But this chick is just, oh, a nice belt. How things are blowing up. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
I think it's a cute
either
scene.
way.
I like it.
I do like it. I would like to not know. Just suddenly, like, I don't know how you would do that, because, like, if Degasu has it, obviously that means that was her, unless then we get a flashback later of, like, and then I found this really hot chick in an alley and I shot her and took her belt.
Oh my God. No, he could just show up with the belt to Gomah and be like, I got it. It's like, how'd you get it? I know someone, and like leave it at that. So it's like ambiguous, but you know, it really was him.
Well, then you've confirmed it, then, haven't you? Have it be someone?
It's a very like vaguish, like, oh, I have someone, or like I have someone on the inside or something like that. But a sweat drop comes down.
Right. The point is, guys, Hibis is looking fashionable. He's got a new hat, and I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, I thought he would like give the belt up and then take the eye out. Like, here's the belt, but no, he does give her everything.
From this great scene, then we go to Arinsu. Her sitting there, and it's hard to dislike this scene because Ku and Du are so precious in it.
Yeah,
but this scene serves absolutely no purpose.
Just to remind you that she's there. T-pose.
We don't learn anything new about her in this scene. It's just her being happy about becoming Great Demon King or whatever she says someday. But there's all according to plan. There's no additional information we learn about her, so why does this scene exist?
There was no need for it to happen. Yeah,
right.
Not at all.
Hopefully, it shows up as something later of like, oh, might just be, oh, there was something happened 10 seconds after that. We just didn't show it to you.
Maybe, yeah. Like right now, they're building another Majin Buu creature or something in the backyard. But
just waiting for a call from Marba
of the third eye. We get to see the previous demon kings, don't we? Like just the silhouettes of them.
It's a little more than that. They are very darkened, but they do have distinctive designs. We see 4 of them, actually, because we see one of them put the eye in. And he's got like 2 horns and like a mustache that kind of goes down, but he's not Abra and he's not Dabra. He's someone else. Mm-hmm. So I want to see those designs. Why'd you darken them? Let me see these guys.
I know.
I want to see them.
The first one was very familiar to Gomah, so it could be like a Gomah relative if you look at it again. Second one is just straight up an adult Beelzebub.
That's what I said out loud when I was watching it. And then we've had other people brighten those. They've played with the contrast, they played with the curves. And it's like, hey, that's not Beelzebub. So that kind of bums me out.
Yeah, a huge missed opportunity to have done like references like Ozoto or like some random Dragon Quest boss or whatever.
Yeah, or Demigra or something. Like, I can't remember what his whole deal was.
But then again,
like,
Ken, that would add to more like lore breaking. Like, wait, but this Beelzebub was this many years ago and blah blah blah.
Oh,
I'm line up.
I'm like, Daima doesn't line up with itself. Okay, so by that point, it doesn't matter. You've already shown me Goasu, right? So go off, King. Show me Demigra. Go ahead, throw him in there.
Yeah. Show us those guys. Stop hiding stuff.
Well, speaking of Sandland, that was the first thing I thought when I saw these tanks.
Oh,
really?
Yeah,
I'm like, I saw another series based on ideas of Toriyama with tanks. I really liked that one.
Yeah. Give me that. Then we have King Kadan showing up and all that, which is cool. But then we do the fake out that actually they just got blowed up and they're dead, which I was like, this would be a huge tone change if this was true and happened. But then nope, they're like, nope, we're all okay and we're gonna kick some butt, and everybody gets their own little cool thing that they get to do of like, chopping a sword or dodging a laser blast.
I gotta admit, that was pretty cool. Yeah.
They probably could have made a convincing like fake out death if they hadn't spent all that time showing us Ariansu just sitting there. Like you could have used that time, put it back in here, stretched out that moment, like not had just like random floaty, folly items in the front, and then like a really weird transition in the smoke in the background. You could have used that time better and still done the same thing, not lost anything, because that Ariansu scene was pointless. and
still wasn't on that ship.
Achieved the same purpose, but had it read way better.
Yeah. Missed opportunity. Bad execution. See, there was the GT reference for this episode. Because there's always one anniversary. Yeah. Good idea. Bad execution.
I love Vegeta and Piccolo back to back as they're fighting. Like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
They're such a duo that will never be friends, truly.
Mm-hmm.
Did they just...
Well, they rode on Eyecatch. They rode on a glacier together.
We all remember movie 7, guys. Not as good as movie 6, but, we'll take it. That's the one with Broly, Doug. Don't you remember? That's a deep cut.
7? Oh, yeah. The Broly I knew. The Broly I thought was...
Blue Broly.
Blue Android Broly.
That's how we celebrate episode 100. We bring back stuff from like episode 16 or whatever.
I just hope that it was edited, because that means that it's put together well, right? Doug, is that how it works?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Movie 8, you bought the DVD for Broly that was edited. You're like, yeah, I want it edited.
It was 7. It was 7.
Oh, was it 7?
I never saw Goku's balls getting punched.
That's right.
I never saw him get a vasectomy.
All right. I saw some stuff about this episode, or people being upset that Goku doesn't go Super Saiyan like right until the end, and then he takes care of everything. But the way I headcanon Goku's thought process, which is like an impossible task, but is that maybe he didn't think he needed to use it. He thought that they would be able to take care of things, and they kind of were until the tanks showed up. And then the tank blasts them, which, as we can tell, is something that you need to eat, like one of those fire ants that come back from. So they're all worn out. And so by that point, if he's worn out like that, maybe he can only do Super Saiyan once, right? And so he's like, I got to wait for the exact right moment to do this and spend this currency I have. And then,
yeah. I wonder if at this point, the Saiyans think of them, like the pride that they have within about their fighting skills is like they think that transforming is a little bit of cheating. So like they're not like that's cheating, but like it's just like I don't want to use it. I want to see if I can do it just on my own. Even though the transformation is their own, I still feel like they want to be like, let me do if I can do it.
It's the equivalent of like playing a video game and being like, I'm playing on hard difficulty and I'm going to keep doing this, but I'm going to turn it down if it gets to be too, I don't know.
I have my limit break, but let me wait to use it until I really need it.
Yeah.
What you are verbalizing here is exactly what I think is going on in DBZ movie 5, the first cooler one. Goku doesn't use Super Saiyan until the very end of that movie, right? And then he decides he's going to use it. Or people will say like, oh no, he can't use it until the end. But to me, it's Goku is like, I've achieved Super Saiyan. Let me see if I can take on this Frieza level threat without having to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's
but especially after beating Frieza with the form you're saying, like, so it's like,
right.
This is my chance to see if I can actually do it without that. Okay.
But all of that said, right, we shouldn't have to headcanon these things, and these shows should do a better job of projecting these ideas to us.
Yeah.
I mean, the other explanation for me is that he knows that there's Gomah and there's Degasu and there's all these other things that are out there. It's like, I don't want to be wasting all of my stamina right up front with just some mooks, if I can take care of them like this, I'll do that. And I'll just, be able to hold on to my transformations for when I actually need them.
I don't know if it's been like discussed or anything, but isn't it at this point, it's not a stamina zapper for them anymore? Like, especially after Goku learned how to sustain the form after the cell game or during the cell games.
But he hasn't been sustaining it because he's back to base form. Because then we had that whole thing with the Elder Kaioshin that's like, oh, that Super Saiyan transformation thing. It always like takes an amount of energy to achieve that. So now I'm going to unlock your potential. Now you have that without needing to expend the energy transforming. I don't know. Who cares? They constantly change it. It's fine. but just off the top of my dome.
Well, speaking of constantly changing, it seems like Degasu's not afraid of Gomah anymore. And this is like a guy who's constantly peeing his pants at Gomah this entire show.
Well, if he's got the belt with the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. But he's looking at Gomah with such disdain now. And it seems like he's about to, from the next episode preview, it seems like he's about to betray him. So very sudden.
It could just be, the whole things of like, shut down warp and we're going to get this military force together. Stuff. It's like, this guy is such a goober and he's not doing a good job. Like, why do I respect this guy? And he's just kind of like, well, that fear before was out of, like, oh, he's a God-fearing man, a Gomah-fearing man. And I was like, oh no, now I know more about him. He sucks. Like, I'm not going to be afraid of this dude. He's not able to do anything. Like what I said, he's not incapable and he's not powerful at all. And he just wants that eye because then he actually could do things.
So who do we think is going to actually get the eye and transform into like a beefy eye? I do think it's going to be Degasu.
Do.
Think it's going to be Do?
I think it's going to be Do.
I think it's going to be Pansy.
Whoa.
Glorio.
Whoa.
Pansy.
Dang.
Glorio's going to get it forced into him when he's like, no, actually, I'm a good guy now. And like, too bad. And they put it in and it makes him evil and super strong. And they're like, our new best friend. We have to do something.
If this show goes with a berserker character, even more characterless Glorio. Oh, no, dude. Let's not go there.
That's true. a Broly Glorio.
Could get weird. Is there anything else here in this episode? I'm sure there is because I forget things all the time.
I just want to apologize again for getting so deep into the lore on this thing. But again, that is how I am coming at this show.
If you're watching, if you're listening to us, you probably are listening because you like that kind of stuff. And I certainly do. So, yeah. I don't think you should apologize. Yeah. You sign up for when you come to We Got a Pod.
You've one of these three is a wiki editor and he's going at it with that mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
There was just one little thing in these episodes and I can't remember which one it was, but it cleared one thing up for me, and this I think could kind of be the cap to this, is that I'd asked before, like, what is the order of succession here? Because we see Dabra get killed and Degasu's like, Gomah, that means that you're king now. And then we meet King Kadan and it's like, so then why wasn't he able to be king of the demon world now? Like, what's going on? But then we find out it's like his vice admiral, like it's his second in command when Dabra gets eaten. So it's like, well, obviously it's the next guy.
Yeah, it feels like anyone can just call themselves king nowadays. If he's not even rich.
We got that, covered those episodes. But as you can see on your timeline while you're watching this episode or listening, it's not over yet. So we're going to take a quick little break, and then we're going to hear what you guys had to say. Yes, you, the listener or watcher, had to say about these episodes and what's coming up from there. So sit tight. We'll be right back. Hey, and we are back here from our quick little break, and this time we get to hear what you guys had to say about stuff, Dragon Ball Daima, and things and the like. Ken, always being super rad, manning that blue sky, put out the question, something a little different this week. With only 5 episodes remaining, thanks to Hulu accidentally confirming the episode count, where do you see this entire series going? How do you think it'll play out? And Ken, do you want to take this first one from Jacob, or is this all me?
Sure, I'll take it. Jacob writes in and says, it seems like some fusion has to happen. Saving Dende wishes. I would think some betrayals revealed, Glorio, whatever Degasu is up to, and whatever Neba is hoping for. I think possibly the demon realm will become open up to the universe, allowing more to come and go.
These all kind of seem things that have entered my mind of like, yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. So Jacob, you got a good head on your shoulders.
Imagine not saving Dende by the end of the show.
I'm waiting for that.
He's dead.
That dude is at the 28th tournament, so he has to be saved.
In some form or another.
No, we're just not going to explain it. Just like the unfusing of Shin and Kibito, it's be like, nope, he's dead. He's alive here. He sure is. So
never pans up, so you might have a halo over his head the entire time.
Just out of frame. It's just
out of frame,
very high
always.
Up because that's as tall as we should have drawn him, but we kept drawing him shorter. Oh, that's good. All right. This one we've got from Final Forum Podcast. says, after the 15th episode, I have no idea and not sure if I to voice an ounce of hope or expectation in the world. That was not a good episode, and the idea Toei wanted it to be released theatrically is madness. Okay, one hope, that it provides some reason for Piccolo to have been present at all.
Oh.
So I don't know if that was supposed to be theatrically shown. It was going to be at the battle hour thing. They were going to show a special preview, and I'm not sure if it was going to be the whole episode, but they were going to show something for episode 15.
Really?
And seeing episode 15, it's kind of like, okay, so then was it actually something that they thought was important, or was it just, that's going to be the episode that's going to be next after this event? Let's just show them the next thing, so that way they can
currently.
Yeah.
Maybe just because it's a battle.
Could have been, or it's just like, we got to get people showing up to this battle hour thing, guys. What do we do? I don't know. Maybe there's like 7 or 8 Daima diehards that need to see the next thing super soon, so they'll show up and buy a ticket. I don't know. It's strange because, yeah, it was like, oh, they're going to show something. It's got to be amazing. And then it turns out like, it was whatever. It's just another episode of Daima, guys. It's fine.
Yeah. I wonder if they think they're like sitting on gold.
Oh my God.
do wonder.
It's so embarrassing if they do.
Scott Kaiser Neko from Team 4-Star writes in and says, Ku and Do will combine, and so Vegeta and Goku will use the fusion bugs. But in their fight, they'll find that Dooku are actually good boys that are just following orders. Either Degasu or Gomah will use the evil eye and become the final big bad. Or maybe Neva will have a villain turn.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Well, I think we talked about this before. There's not enough time for Neva to do that again, because he's already had a face turn. Like, he started out with us thinking he was bad, and now we know he's good. And so to turn bad again, just we need more episodes to like truly do justice for that.
Yeah, but
you guys ever seen Angry Beavers?
Oh yeah, I love Angry
Beavers.
We had those episodes of Baron once good, then bad, now good again Beaver. Each episode he was changing sides, so his name kept getting longer. I mean,
if Glory was any indication, they're not going to do good with like character turns and all that kind of stuff. But
we'll see.
I'm really hoping that they don't do a fusion of Goku and Vegeta. I mean, that kind of is like on their greatest hits. They have to, but I hope it's because it might be a 3-person combination, right?
No, looking at that illustration again, it's 2 people fusing into the third person, not 3 people.
Okay, well, I love Vegeta.
Now, what would be hilarious, Randy, is that Kakarot is about to have Daima DLC. So what if the fusion never happens in the anime, but is like a mechanic in the Kakarot?
Just for the game? The tie-in?
This is a what-if story entirely, rather than adapting it. That'd be good. Lady Zeon says, my prediction is Degasu will betray Gomah, Officer Black style, use the evil eye, and Goku and Vegeta will use the join bug to merge. I have no clue what they're doing with Arinsu because Ku and Do are such good boys. I can't see them being actual villains. My biggest worry is I expect a lot of things that have been set up, Chekhov's artillery, if you will, won't have payoffs. Things like the Glind lore and Rimus are just going to be wiki factoids with no narrative purpose. I mean, we've gotten all that with interviews over decades of just like, oh, here's, Mr. Satan's wife. What does that have to do with anything? Nothing. Isn't that fun?
I don't necessarily think that stuff like Rimus wasn't Toriyama's idea, but perhaps it was stuff that he presented to them, and then they were like, screw it, just use it all. And it's like, no, maybe you should have picked which ones you wanted to use.
Yeah, I gave you all those ideas to work off of if you wanted to.
Now, here's a character design of Rimus just on the screen for no reason. Yeah. All right, okay, next to the next thing.
Yep. He's going to come down and he's going to be the big bad because he's still out there, remember? So it's possible.
Pika fan writes in and says, unfortunately, I haven't caught up with 14 and 15, but based on what I see so far, I assume the show will not end with memories being erased, but rather a very convoluted reasoning for why any new power-ups/tools that are shown in the series aren't used in Super. So, good to know that the Super Sicko Army is still out there, Randy. Your people.
Your people.
That's right. I've infiltrated. I'm changing things from the inside out right here. GGF says, I thought it'd stay simple and Gomah would get the third eye and be the big bad, but Degasu's apparent betrayal throws a wrench in that. There's also whatever Arns who's cooking up with Glorio, but she's been such a comedy-focused character lately, it's hard to see her as a final villain. Aside from Chekhov's fusion,
I love
kind of
this.
just along. I know.
I love it's taking off.
To be fair, you didn't coin this.
Yeah, I know, but I've been using it like every episode.
Aside from Chekhov's fusion, I'm kind of just along for the ride at this point. Also, hey, congrats on 100 numbered episodes. Aw, thanks, man. I only started listening in early 2024, but the pod's always a joy to listen to. Thanks for all the entertainment, and here's to many more. And Jacob Sawyer chimes in with hear, hear. Oh, man.
Well, it's time I announce my retirement.
No.
Good riddance. Although I kind of like him in that size.
100 and we're done. Before Daima ends, we just never talk about it ever again.
We don't do, granola, none of that. We're just out. Sorry, guys. No, we'll stick around. We'll see how Daima ends. That'll truly decide our fate as fans, as friends. Who knows?
Wow, that's a lot of writing on this.
That's not true. We got Tenchi, so
Yuki,
everything's
please,
gonna be fine. You go. You keep talking to her as if she's your friend. And you keep saying Yuki. It's funny. But I just have to point it out.
Strong Style Edge writes in and says, Super Saiyan 4 reimagined with lore of Saiyan being apes originally from the Demon Realm. Totally forgot about that.
Oh, yeah, my theory.
Glorio and blank fusion bug introduced by Mira to canon, or introducing Mira to canon. So the idea of Glorio fusing with someone to become Mira. Whis, or a celestial being at the end, using time magic to roll back time, keeping super canon and reversing the diffusion in other anomalies. A stretch, but I'm a gambler.
Fixing all your time lore, Ken. All that. It just fixes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, the show's broken. Staff hits the ground and everything goes backwards.
Just turns to the camera. Don't you think it's weird that everybody is like 5 million years old? Somebody didn't do the math here. I just got to undo this. It's Toyotaro, but he's wearing like the angel robe.
And suspiciously still wearing a Supreme shirt.
Yeah. You ever check that guy out on Threads? He's only taking photos of food that he eats, and he's like, dang, that was a good hamburger. He's got great content. Follow Toyotaro over on Threads. It's good. Marcus Marcito says several things that seemed kind of important are never going to come up again, like the blue lifespan fluid, the connection between ki and magic, possibly even Rymus. And we've got this great meme of Hulk saying, guys, I'm starting to think the Chekhov's guns are never going to pay off. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'd say that the lifespan liquid was there in that shot when Degasi went down to go flip the switch. Because there were just tanks that were
I have hope for that, but I don't know about the whole magic thing. Like, I think they just said that just to say it, like, oh, you have magic? And that's it. It's just like a nod to, I don't know.
They're going to kill Dende, all right? He's going to get which, the thing I said, I'm watching this on Disney Plus because I pay for Hulu, so it's all kind of wrapped up. So I turned to Andrew, I'm like, next week on Disney Plus, this child gets shot point blank. I'm like, whoa. They're gonna kill Dende. They're gonna break that container of all the life liquid.
Juice.
It's gonna soak into Neba, and he's going to become young enough to be a child. They put him in Dende's clothes, and they're like, "You're the guardian now. Shh, don't tell Popo."
We're just gonna call you Dende for simplicity's sake.
Yep. And for Super and GT and all that, it's been Neba the whole time. So Isn't that wild? Yeah, that's the new one.
Papa HRF wrote in, and I'm just going to briefly touch on this. They said, oh no, what did Hulu say? They accidentally leaked the date. So we're going to jump straight to title here, writes in. It says, in the last episode, there were quite a few shots showing Goku, Vegeta, and Piccolo in a triangle, or at least together. I think those three will fuse via the join bugs. So real quick, we touched on how that's not the case, but poorly communicated to the audience to think that there are going to be three people. So just kind of Daima in a nutshell. I was worried that Do and Ku would combine, but seeing their positive dynamic lately makes me not expect that. I can also see Ku helping out the main cast. Hoping for a Super Saiyan 3 team-up, and Glorio will likely have a dramatic reveal to be working for Arinsu, but due to the power of Wonderland friendship, he will help the main cast as well. Gomah will likely get a giant transformation, or at the very least grow 2-3 times larger. All in all, Daima will likely fondly be remembered for these last 5 episodes and nothing else, a la GT and Super Saiyan 4. I'm really hoping they can tie all these lame, loose ends together.
Yeah. I don't see how Gomah will be the threat unless he does get like a Garlic Jr. transformation, and then I gotta buy another Figuarts of a character I don't care about.
Doug, I know you were half awake, but they do briefly show when the Demon King with the horns puts the thing in his forehead, then his body does grow larger.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm referencing too. He's gonna get the eye, or something, or maybe the eye will pass around because of how easy it looks like they're just passing the eye around. Maybe we'll go to not just one person, but to multiple. Episode 20 is gonna be wild, y'all.
It's a lot of Figuarts you have to buy then. Be like, Arinsu. Arinsu transformed. Gomah transformed. Degasi transformed.
Oh, I'll buy all the Arinsu figures they release. You don't worry.
I believe you would. There was something that I think maybe we'd brought up before of like, earlier on when there was still time to develop Glorio into being an interesting character of like, he could be like, friends and then we really love him and then there's a betrayal or he's like forced to do something and we're all kind of like, oh no, this is so heartbreaking because of all the things they've been through and the friends they are. I think that's what could happen with Ku and Do, but it's not very Dragon Ball to do something like that of like, here's these two characters, aren't they really great? We force them to fuse and become bad guys and brainwash them. Like, that's not what happens, but... No,
that doesn't seem very... Like, if they have to, like, kill them and they feel very sad about it, that doesn't feel very Dragon Ball.
No, not at all. But man, a lot of good ones in there. Thank you guys. Really getting the gears turning. We've only got 5 episodes left, but some crazy things could happen. It's Dragon Ball. That's the kind of thing that does happen, is the crazy stuff. So thank you. Thank you for that. I wanted to bring up, as always, if you don't listen on Spotify, you could listen to it there and that would be great. Get our numbers up, but also because we put up polls and everything on there last time when we were covering episode 13, we asked, did you enjoy this little break of an episode? And it was either, yes, it's a nice change, or no, I didn't like it. Majority of people said it's a nice change. So people wanted to see big dog, big boy, and big hamsters. People love that stuff. Doug, I've got a couple emails here that are kind of all about you. So I kind of want to highlight these.
Am I going to get flamed?
Just a little bit.
All right, here we go. I've asked for it.
You have asked for it. Actually, this one, I got mixed up with another one. First, there's this one from Travis Henderson that wants to say that longtime listener of your work, and I just want to say you guys do an amazing job. It's been cool finding out cool details within the Dragon Ball series from the anime to the manga. Your podcast really made me see the world of Dragon Ball in a different light, and I'm really thankful and excited to see you guys tackle Tenchi Muyo, a series that's near and dear to my heart. I do have a suggestion for you guys for a future episode. If you want, you guys could do it and maybe talk about the dub of Dragon Ball. You guys usually talk more about the Japanese voices, and I'm pretty curious to know how you all feel towards the dub. Would be interesting to hear your opinions on the dub as a whole. Certain voice actors like Chris Sabat and Sean Schemmel, and their portrayal of characters like Vegeta and Goku, respectfully. Again, just a suggestion, keep up the amazing work and stay safe. Sincerely, Travis. Thank you, Travis.
Thanks, Travis.
Really appreciate that. Glad that you're also on board with some Tenchi stuff because, it brings a smile to my face every time. It's like, it's Tenchi talking time. This is what I live for. Which is weird because I love Dragon Ball so much. But for the dub conversation, I think that's great. And I think maybe we'll do that later this year after Daima. So look out. And if we do it before we tackle Granola, and everybody who wants to tackle Granola, blame Travis. Travis brought it up, and then we have to do it.
I'll be honest with you. I don't want to jump straight into Granola. I mean, I would love to. But I need Doug's thoughts on the Hitas, okay? I don't think I want to jump straight into it right away.
Holiday Whoopie
I don't want to go. I mean, we've been on like a review train. We did AF, then we did Moro, and then we went straight into Daima. I'd like to take a break from that for a little bit.
Yeah, true.
Do a couple other things, and then get to Daima, but or not Daima, Granola. Not before too long.
Yeah. All right, and then I've got
production meeting in the middle of the show.
That's fine. Some more BTS. It's episode 100.
Ken's talking
wild.
to us, not the audience anymore. He's like, I don't want it.
And I'm not even listening. I'm looking ahead at what I need to do and get prepared. So standard. That's how we do. So then I've got this one other email from Willis DeYoung. Bonus trivia for Doug.
What? You,
just Doug?
Willis. Okay. It's just me.
Willis says, I thought it'd be fun to give Doug a break or chance with some figure trivia. Ken is more than welcome to join in as long as Doug answers first. So no buzzing.
I could probably
Doug
have a
gets
chance.
first crack. So here we go. Question number 1 from Willis DeYoung. How many volumes of the Super Battle Collection were made excluding the Perfect Goku and the Special 3-pack?
Oh, no. I did kind of collect those. I'm going to guess, same as the manga, 42.
All right, that's Doug's answer. Ken, do you know the answer?
I believe it is 42, yeah.
Answer 42. Interesting how that lines up with 42 volumes of the manga. Huh?
Whoa, that was just a guess, dude. Oh my god, I can't believe the figure energy or aura around me is actually giving me the right answers.
That felt very Tamagami number 2 then. Vegeta just randomly gets it, and it feels like, I don't think he really knew. He was just kind of taking a shot in the dark.
Now, Doug, how many of those are just Dragon Ball Z branded?
Not a lot, right? It's a lot of GT stuff, right? Majority GT?
No, not majority. I actually don't know the answer to that.
Oh, you're actually asking me.
Yeah.
No.
It's not majority GT, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, but
right,
wasn't the trivia about it like they stopped at GT or something, or like, I mean, not stopped at it, but like, I forget what the trivia was about that. Something about GT specifically, but whatever.
We've seen that Super 17. I think Mike showed it off on cards a few times.
It said they never did the dragons.
Oh.
They stop at Super 17. Or I think Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is the final one.
Oh.
But yeah, they don't do the dragons.
Okay. Question 2. Which 2 figures from that collection were exclusive to the films at the time, but did not appear in the series?
What?
So two figures that were only in the movies.
Uh-huh. Oh, Super Android
characters from the
13 and Garlic Jr.?
Ken, would you like to give your answer?
Well, Broly is one of them.
Oh, yeah,
And
that
then-
big Broly.
I don't want to talk this out live on camera, but geez, man, I don't know. Did they make a Janemba? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. That doesn't ring a bell.
Well, here we have Gogeta.
Oh, okay. I was thinking villains. Yeah.
Me too.
And Willis says that the other character's name is Brody, and I don't remember a Brody, so I'm going to guess that there was some...
Kakarot. Kakaroto.
You know what? It's going to be autocorrect that's like, Broly? That's not a word. You were looking for Brody. But I would love to see Brody in Dragon Ball. So fan artists, get at us with what you think
Oh, there's
Brody
plenty of Brody art out there. Don't you worry.
Oh, boy. All right. Last question. Question 3. What was the last character from Z from the Super Battle Collection released before the transition into characters from GT?
Willis, the Super Battle Collection, you tricked me with here's some figure trivia. It's all about the Battle Collection that you never collect. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
What was the last character from Z from the Super Battle Collection before they started to do GT?
Go 10.
Interesting.
Man, I'm torn between Super Saiyan Vegito and Pure Boo. So I'm going to say Pure Boo.
Okay. Well, you're both wrong. It is actually Super Saiyan Vegeta from the Boo arc. So,
Dang.
yeah. Well, he says enjoy. P.S. Ken, I'm Team Glorio. That's another discussion for another day.
Whoa.
So,
I would love to know why.
In the year of our Lord?
Right. Email Randy again. I want to know why.
Yeah.
yeah. Let's hear it. That could be our last big discussion of, Glorio. Was he good or was he bad?
It's just
That'd be
Glorio.
fun.
Why?
Yeah, Glorio. Who really cares about that? So
Hey, you called out
again,
Willis does, so we respect opinions.
exactly. So Willis, again, thank you very much. I really, really like getting that in, and it's nice to give Doug a break. here
Yeah,
and there.
give me some SH Figuart trivia. I got you all day on that.
Well, now we've got actual trivia from actual Zenpai.
He made it?
Yeah, he did. He messaged me right when we were starting to record. He's like, I'm guessing I'm too late. And I'm like, you got like 45 minutes to get something out.
Turns out you have 2 hours.
Yeah, this episode is going long, but you know what? It's episode 100. Whatever, it's fine. We're going to have 2 sets of trivia. It's 2 hours long.
Double the pleasure.
I'm wide awake because my balls ache, so.
Well, Ken's not doing that last one.
Not for 2 weeks.
The countdown begins. Mark your calendars, listeners, and ask Ken how he's doing.
No.
Oh my god! Imagine in the middle of yanking it, he just gets an influx of text. I can't focus.
That's staying in. All right, so all right. Real trivia here from, not that the last one was fake trivia. It was real, and it happened. It didn't happen
True
in your
to me.
mind. But we've got this from Zenpai, our trivia deity. Really great guy. Out there translating the manga over in Portugal. So check that out. Buy those.
Officially, not fan Not fan translation.
Yeah.
Officially.
For real, for real. So question number 1, what is the name of Glorio's voice actor? Doug, I know you're out on this one.
Ben Dismuke.
Wow, no. Did you mix up Ben Diskin and Aaron Dismuke together?
Yeah, they ate the fusion bug. This is where it comes into play.
Oh.
That all makes sense.
Ken's playing 3D chess right now. He's like seeing episodes we haven't even seen yet.
We call it fusion chess.
So Glorio's voice actor is Koki Uchiyama. So...
Oh, that explains it. Uchiyama. Okay, I get it.
So episode 20, do we get to do a bye bitch for a new
For
Uchiyama?
Glorio? Yeah.
Alrighty. Question number 2. In which episode does Hibis first appear? Really gotta scratch
7.
back into your memory. Doug, do you have an answer?
28.
Woo.
I don't want to accidentally get the right answer and beat Ken.
Oh,
No,
but
is
that's
that-
so funny.
It's episode 5.
All right, Ken gets it in his second guess. It is episode 5.
Okay,
Did you just go through your mind palace? Like
I
what
did.
was-
If you scroll back, you can see me mind palacing.
and not going to consensu.com and checking out the episode guide to figure out when Hibis first shows up. I saw your hands. It's fine. You were holding the peas between your legs. Cold peas.
Hey, they're bigger size than that.
It's fair. Not anymore. That's not how that works.
Next question.
Question 3. Which Daima character shares a voice actor with one of the Persona games' main cast?
Why's all the trivia like names and numbers?
He
and
had 45 minutes, all right?
I'm not blaming that. I'm just blaming that I don't do so well with those kind of trivia.
Zenpai, do I look like some sort of nerd who plays Persona games? I don't think so. So I can't
Freeze
answer
frame
that.
right there.
He only plays Like a Dragon, the true Sega JRPG.
Sega.
The answer is Gomah. His voice actor, Shotaro Morikubo, also voices Yusuke in Persona 4 and also Shikamaru in Naruto, which is not Persona, but
All right.
fun.
Oh.
Now, Doug, here's a question for you. How does he spell Shotaro?
What? SHOUTARO?
No, he spells it cool. He spells SHOWTARO.
Whoa.
Which is not how you would write that in Japanese.
He
Cool,
just
but it's cool.
decided to spell it that way.
Live your life, dude. Yeah, write it however you want.
That's your name.
Same thing for the guy who does Trigun, Naitao. It's like with a
Yeah.
W. Like, nah, can't do that. That's
Or
illegal.
Tight Kubo. Old
Oh,
Tite.
yeah.
Old
Tite
Tite
Kubo.
Kubo.
Gosh, that one bothers me because it's thrown me off for so much. Anyway, gosh, what an action-packed episode 100, even though we're not really celebrating anything right now because we got to make it through all this Daima stuff, guys. It's so important. But thank you for listening and interacting, sending in all those emails with extra trivia, giving us what you guys are thinking is going to be in these last 5 episodes. Zenpai for staying up till 1:30 in the morning writing trivia for the show. That was his own fault. I mean, he says he's busy, but like, how busy is he? You know.
How hard is it to translate from Japanese?
So yeah,
Just take a picture with your phone and it'll Google Translate. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
I mean, these computers are doing it.
the official Dragon Ball website for their news does it. That means it's okay.
All right, calm down. Let's
All right.
give Zenpai his due.
Yes, Zenpai, thank you
He's great.
for what you do. Yeah. Absolutely A+ fella out there. And so we're going to keep you in the conversation. You can post at us on Blue Sky. We're keeping it easy at wegotapodcast.com over there. Or if you want to email us like some other people that have been doing, you can email us at wegotapod@gmail.com.
And thank you to Rifti Beats for letting us use his track Kakarot Theme Hip Hop Chat Remix. You can find that song and other great music by him on his SoundCloud. Ken, where can the people find you?
You can find me over on the Tenchi Muyo episodes of this podcast
Yeah.
discussing the classic other Toonami series, Tenchi Muyo.
There you go. I love that.
Randy?
Oh, there we go. You got to introduce it, man. We're totally
Ken
running
usually
on
follows up
fumes.
with that. I'm sorry.
He's injured. You have to let
I was
the
too busy
man
thinking of the
recover.
Tenchi Muyo. I was thinking like of Ryoko naked in the shower scene and everything. Or the
It's hard not
bathhouse
to.
scene. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm at Saberbreaker at wegotapodcast.com. Doug, where can people find you?
And I'm Jabaz Doug on socials.
Doug fell asleep during this episode. of Daima that he was watching. So we're going to go ahead and end this up here real quick. Guys, make sure to subscribe, review, tell your friends. We don't talk about the moms as much anymore, but moms, we ain't forgot you. And let your moms know to... I'm done, dude. All right, catch you, Matsunator.
Bye.
Ciao.